Hello, ladies. How are you this evening?
I am good.
Is anyone hearing me? I'm not hearing anyone.
Yes.
Annie, you're muted.
I know. I'm trying to find it. Too many things going on. Too many things going on. OBS. Yes, where's my Zoom? Hey there. Can you hear me okay? Hi, Sandra, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I thought I was still on mute. I was running from the kitchen to try to unmute.
It was all me, dear, all me. Okay, and you're seeing, what screen are you seeing?
I see you, and I see this little background, and you don't look like you are floating in anymore. At least not fully, anyhow.
I don't look like what?
Like you're floating in, like,
Oh, okay.
like you're coming from a different dimension.
I have crazy dogs at my house.
Awesome. That's what we want to hear. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Okay, what's the deal here?
You see what used to be this?
There we are.
That sounds like a dog. Wrestling with something.
Pause. Having some issues here. Having some issues here. Let's try this. Video. Here we are. Yay. Video. Here we are. Woo. Yay. Video. Okay, this is not looking good on Facebook.
Are you trying to get on Facebook?
I'm streaming right now.
Oh, okay.
It should be streaming on Facebook as well. There's me. Terrible picture. There's you. Okay, Facebook is about 20 seconds behind the rest of us, so it's okay.
I think Debbie's on her way to join. I'm guessing Catherine will be here.
Okay? If not, we'll catch who we catch, and we'll take off from there. Let's go to... Yes. Oh.
Sorry.
Hi, Sandra.
I'm here.
I just said hello.
Huh?
I just said hello. I just saw your name pop up.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
Okay, we should be streaming live on Facebook as we speak, and if not, I'll put it on Facebook when we get through. Go. There we go. Okay. Oh, what a pretty dog.
So I'm dog sitting at my daughter's. I don't normally have anybody around. And her dog is very big.
Uh-huh.
And this is their first time they've been away.
Aww.
And she has a little COVID-19 stress for my little grand dog. Who's big.
Aww.
She has been crying and
Aww.
acting out, and I can just tell it's like she hasn't had anybody. They haven't left her in 2.5 months. So
Yeah.
she's pretty stressed, which is now making my poor little tiny girl stressed. But
Yeah, I have a
hi,
big...
Gail. How are you today?
Hey, Gail.
I'm good, Carol. How are you? Hi,
I'm
Annie.
doing great, thank you.
Good. Hi there. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Good, good.
I have a big old boxer, and he's asleep around here
I'm not
somewhere.
sure who the boy is, but they're there.
You'll probably hear him snore. He's good at that.
Yeah, at any given moment, I can be running to chase her down so that she doesn't get eaten by the.
Eaten by the big dog.
Well, they just play, and sometimes she just gets a little rough.
Yeah, Rooster
Hey,
doesn't
sweet girl. Oh, here she comes.
Uh-huh. Okay, ladies. Well, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off, and if anybody joins, that's great. And if they don't, then they can catch it on the replay. How's that?
Okay.
I'm Annie Richardson, if you don't know already, and I'm called your fairy blog mother from my blog. And so my blog just kind of, I cater to women especially that have just a little bit of trouble with the tech side of blogging. And that's kind of what I do.
You know that's everybody, right?
Well, yes, somewhat it is. But so I've got a lot of articles and stuff already written, but I do these Q&As occasionally just to give some live advice and help if I can, and answer any questions you may have. And I really appreciate Carol letting me do this because it gives me a lot of practice as well as it helps you guys, and that's really the main thing here. So
Well, we appreciate you doing this for us, Annie.
not a problem.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I have lost you guys.
You've lost us.
Well, yeah, I don't see you anymore. Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
We see you.
Oh, you do, eh? Okay, so I've got to just... See,
Check
here's the technical glitch. Okay, there we go.
You find us? Yay! I
Case in point.
There you go. Just to let you know, I've done this a minute. I've been in the IT industry for 40 years probably. Back, when computers took up the size of a room. And
I learned on a Wang.
Yeah, there you go. So you know what I'm talking about.
There you go. Yep.
So I've done this for a very, very long time. I've taught anything from, regular users all the way up to administrators and database people and all sorts of things like that. So I've done this quite a while, and I usually can keep up with the technology. But let me tell you something, blogging is not easy to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
It changes so much that it's even hard for us techies to kind of keep up with. So I feel your pain. I really do. So y'all want to just tell me some of the things that you're having issues with, and we'll kind of start there.
Trying to understand analytics.
Analytics, okay?
Yeah, that's a biggie.
All right. First of all, let's talk about analytics and what the whole purpose is. You set it up probably at the very beginning of your blog, and you go, okay, that's nice. Now what, right? Mm-hmm. One of the worst things you can do is put a Google plug-in in your blog, in the back end of your WordPress. You don't need it there. You don't need Jetpack. You don't need Google Analytics back there. You want to always look at your analytics from Google Analytics, okay? So let me kind of take you there. And show you. Well, you'll see us in infinity here just for a second. But, all right, so don't want that. All right, so I hope you're not seeing. Are you still seeing my OBS screen? You
See you in
Yes.
the corner, kind of small, and then there's like a split screen here.
okay?
Yeah, it says OBS Studio
Yeah, let me
25.0.8.
yeah, let me take you out of that. Let's put you somewhere else. Let me open the analytics screen. Da-da-da, da-da-da. I'm using an application called Restream so that I can stream on this and YouTube and thousands of other places at the same time. So I'm kind of testing it out.
Stream or restream?
Yep, Restream.
Free. F-R-E-E.
Restream. Restream.
Restream. Thank you.
Yes. And I'm also using an application called OBS. And those two together are helping us to stream live. And it may or may not work well. We just don't know. It's kind of a test that I'm doing here. So we'll see. Let's go back to Zoom. That's OBS. I don't want OBS. I want Zoom. Okay. Let's try sharing this screen again. All right.
Okay,
So
mention the second application one more time.
Restream.
Restream and the other one?
OBS. Open Broadcasting Software. Yeah. And we can talk about that in a minute. That's just what I'm using to stream to Facebook. Okay. So what you're seeing right here is your basic Google Analytics, right? The things you want to pay attention to. This is, of course, the last 7 days, right? And this is on one of my other websites, I think. But the things you want to look at is the number of sessions and the number of users. Now, you can, of course, change this to a different, I usually set mine at 28 days just to see kind of where it's at, right? And it gives me an idea of what my traffic is. And you can almost always tell when you have posted a blog post because you'll get a spike like that right after you've posted a blog post, okay? One of the biggest things that you always want to know about is page views. And I just simply type in page views. Gives me the enter. So you'll get that over here on the right. And you see here it says number of page views 147. Okay. May 7th through the 13th, right? You can change that, of course. So I usually say page views last 30 days to be specific about it. That's the number you're looking for. 520 on this website. That's the number you're looking for to get taken care of for Mediavine and Monumetric and the big dogs, right? Well, as you can see, I'm nowhere near that on this website, but that's okay. This is a brand new website.
So the number of page views is the number of pages in your site that they viewed, or the number of visitors?
The number of pages that have been viewed by all visitors. So it could be the same visitor visiting 12 pages, right? It could be, all kinds of things. And you can do some comparisons here, last month versus this month, if you want to see that. Another thing that you can do is you can really drill down in your analytics to see way down to what the actual, number of websites and the particular websites that you're looking for. It's loading. It's very hateful right now. The particular websites the particular pages that are viewed more often than not, as you can see, right? So here's my page views. Here's the unique page views, meaning, these are the number of pages on this site that have been viewed at least once, right? This is the number of pages that have been viewed, period. Okay? Average time on the page. Of course, you want that to be a big number, right? You want it to be, 5 minutes if it's possible, and it may not be. The number of times they've come into the website, the bounce rate. You know what bounce rate is? Bounce rate means I go in and I come right back out. I don't stay on your website at any point. Okay, it's almost like
If I want to go in and come right back out, and it's a block, right?
That's a bounce. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but are the blocks counted in the bounces?
The blocks and the batches.
are the bots counted in the bounces?
Yes. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. The bounce is
When
counted
you
in
have
the
a lot of, when you have a lot of, like, I have Clean Talk,
Uh-huh.
and that's keeping the spam comments from coming into my site.
Mm-hmm.
So they send me a report about the number of spam that they blocked.
Got it.
And I know it's coming from these bots. Okay, so when I look at my my Google Analytics and I see 80% bounce rate, I'm going nuts because I'm like,
No.
nobody stayed in the site.
It's because that's counting that. 80% bounce rate means they've caught a lot of those, right?
Okay.
Now
So what is considered an acceptable bounce rate? Like, what do you want to see it fall under?
Normally between 50 and 60% it's considered okay. Okay?
50-60%?
Because you really want to pay more attention. I mean, yes, that's important, but look at the average time on the page. That's the real key there. They may go and look at one page, right? So let's say they go and look at one blog post, but they may spend 10 minutes on that blog post. That's not a bad thing, right? And they may click a link that you've written in your blog post and go somewhere else. You see, that's still going out, right? That means they looked at one page and then they bounced out. But if they spent a long time on it, that's a good thing. If people are spending longer on your website, that's good.
What's the duration for that average time on the page?
Average time on the page is good. I mean, this one is a minute. That's not too bad, you know? That means they look
per
like...
page, right?
No, that's the average. On a page, yes.
That's average per
It's
page.
all
right.
of the pages, right. You can actually drill down in here a little further into this particular scenario, and you can really go crazy. All kinds of people have stuff that they can, dashboards that they can show you. But as you can see, this before you start, and see, I've got two things going on. I've got last month versus this month. So this blog post on before you start, that had 21 views, right?
Oh, so each one of them. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
So you can kind of tell where the biggest ones are. What you don't want to see is everything being right here. That means they hit the front of your website, and that's as far as they went.
Oh, wow.
But as you can see on this case, they really went further, right? They did pretty good.
So then with the bounce rate, because I know that some of the affiliate companies that you could affiliate market with, one of the things that they ask you when you're trying to apply to them is what is your bounce rate? If your site is getting attacked by a lot of bots, you don't have any control over that bounce rate.
Sure you do. There is some places, and I'm not a real guru when it comes to this, but somewhere in here, you can block out that bounce rate. I mean, you can actually filter it out, yeah. And I don't have it, but I think it's somewhere in here. But you can actually, we'll have to Google it and find out specifically, but you can say anything from here, don't count it. Anything from this.
Anything from what? Bots?
From your bot, right. Anything.
Would that be related to an IP address?
It could
so
be.
You're kind of, okay.
It could be, or it could be, you know, in some cases, I've seen it. I don't know how to do it, you guys, but I've seen it to where they say, you know, this application, if it comes from this application. So in your case, it would be like, I think I use, I forgot what I use, but like WordFence. If it comes from WordFence, don't count it. You know, if it comes from this, don't count it.
Okay, because on my Clean Talk, they actually give me a breakdown. When they send me the email and tell me, you know, what the statistics are, what they've blocked, they're showing me a breakdown of, you know, where it's coming from. Is it coming from Europe? Is it coming from,
right.
you know, Nigeria? You know what I'm saying? So if it shows me that for the spam, I would think that it would, somewhere in here, it's got to show you something like that where your bots are attacking from.
And it will.
Is there any plugins that can you know, kind of try to block those bots a lot?
You don't want to plug in. No, you don't want to plug in. All of your analytics, you want to be from right here. You want to go. A plugin is only going to slow your website down, especially if you have lots of stuff going on your analytics. You don't want
So
that.
I don't need Jetpack.
No, that slows your
Oh, yeah, I'm
website,
okay with it.
causes
I
all
never
kinds of
really liked
problems.
it.
But with regards to the jetpack, I have jetpack on my website, but it seems to be related more to security. So through
Use something else.
Bluehost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
use something else. Don't use Jetpack. I
And so
promise you.
what would be the alternative? Like, what would you suggest?
I'll pull up one of mine and show you. I actually have a post on this, what you should use. But
Okay.
I think WordFence is really good.
Mhm.
Oh, I have WordFence for security, but I also have Jetpack. I don't know that
You
I'm
don't
using
need
the
both.
security portion of it.
You
I
don't
think
need
it has several different functions.
you
So
don't need
you
Jetpack.
select certain ones. I
Trust
think
me.
I'm going to get rid of it because I really don't care for it.
You don't need Jetpack. You can use other plugins for the pieces that you do need. Okay, WordFence is great for security. Akismet is my favorite for spam.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Updraft Plus. Updraft Plus
I
is
think I got as good as with the spam with the Kismet.
yep. Updraft Plus is good for backups.
Okay, I've got that.
Let me think. Hang on, I'll just pull mine up for my big blog and show you. But let me show you this real quick. You see, I've clicked on channels here under acquisition. This shows me everything that came to me direct. See, this is a good number for this because it's not all coming from social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. Organic search means somebody actually went to Google and searched for something, and it fit that. Referrals, came from somebody else's website, right? And you can click down in here and drill down on it, and it'll tell you exactly where it came from and where your traffic's coming from. See, Google, Podia sent some. I have no idea who that is. Teachable, Blogorama, which is a bad thing. If it brings you joy, Flowdesk, so forth and so on. You can drill down in there. You can also find source medium. You were talking about wanting to know where it was coming from and things like that. A lot of that can be done here as well. See, there's my Facebook mobile. Here's the Facebook desktop, so forth and so on. And if you drill down in here, it will show you, you just keep drilling down, but it will show you where these are coming from. Audience, I think it is. Demographics, I believe.
What's that thing that said tree maps?
That said what?
There was something where you just were.
Yep.
Before you switched the menu, it said tree maps.
Yeah, that is under acquisition. Tree maps.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's basically the same kind of thing we were just talking about, where it talks about the social, direct, where it came from. And anything that is blue, of course, you can drill down on, right? Now, you'll notice that these are from my blog, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's telling you that, somewhere within my blog, I sent something to another website.
Okay.
Okay, like I was in something and I said, oh, by the way, if you want to learn more about X, go here. That's what this is. Okay? And so tree maps are covering my website links, whereas Source and Medium covers everybody's website link.
All right, so I want to ask you, just because I had a website previously,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to delete that site and start over. So with my Google Analytics, I want to make sure that I'm signed up under the right website. That they're running a check on the right website. So
Mm-hmm.
can you just briefly walk me through where I would go to make that change to make sure the right website is in there? Because I'm not sure if it is.
Yes, I can, but look, here you can find out. All I did was went into my Google Analytics. Let me click off of this. Okay. Up here at the top, all website data, arrow down, and this tells you what websites I'm tracking. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I can change it from there?
You can add a new property from here. You'll have to put the code on your new website, just using the same process you did to put all the others on. Okay?
Okay.
Now,
And then if I have a directory website, so if I just put the main site address instead of the other domains that I have within it, because it's a multi-site, the main site address should have it reading every one of those sites, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't know why do you have a directory website?
I have it's on WordPress. But
Yeah.
see, the last time I had to take down the previous site was because I had it under subdomains. It wasn't a directory-based site. And I went through a lot of hell with that site for like 3 years, fighting with conflicts and stuff because of the subdomains. So
Yep.
I had to basically blow up that whole site and
Right.
start all over again.
Yep.
And at that point, I had found out about directories. So
Oh, okay.
that was
That
fun.
has nothing to do with anything. All you need, whatever your websites are, whatever your URL is, that's what you need to be concerned with. That's what goes in there.
Just make
Okay.
sure.
All right. So
Does anyone else have any other questions? Are we good with analytics?
yes, I was going to show you plugins real quick. Is that okay?
Great, that'd be fabulous.
All right. So let's talk about plugins. I use Akismet, like I said.
That's what I use.
Atomic Blocks is really good. Atomic Blocks will give you some extras for your Gutenberg, for your WordPress editor, if you will. Okay?
What is that? Say it again. Gutenberg? What is Gutenberg?
Gutenberg is your editor for WordPress.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I use Aweber for my email platform, and we can talk about that in another time. That's a whole different subject matter.
Yes.
Email
That's a fun
platforms.
one.
One of the better ones that I have used, Cookie Notice, that has that little thing that pops up at the bottom that says, do you agree, we use cookies and so forth. And then the others kind of depend on your theme and all of that. This Lucky WP table of contents is something you guys might want to look at. This adds a table of contents automatically to your blog post if you want it. So
Lucky, WP.
So it goes through your table. Your document, and everywhere you have headings in your, like the H2 headings. I'm assuming you're doing that. It pulls that up and it shows it's a table of contents, and I'll show you one of those on a page. And then Rank Math SEO I use instead of Yoast. This gives you a lot more control and a lot more stuff that you can actually help you with your blog posts. I'll show you that when I go to a particular thing. And then, of course, that's the basic ones that you're going to want. In the back end, I have some WordFence and some of the stuff like that I don't use as a plugin. I have a lot of plugins, but you want to be careful. The game is not to have as many plugins as you want, because of the fact that every plugin, creates memory, right? Every plugin creates you to slow your site down. It depending on what's going on. So you want to be really careful with which ones you use. And until you really get your site up, running, and happy, I don't worry too much about that. Just go to the same basic ones. But I'm going to show you one of my posts just to show you how that table of contents works and how Rank Math works. And I just want to show you real quick, and then we'll go on to other questions. The six essential. This is a good one. As you can see, I've got a score over here, 90 out of 100, right? That has to do, excuse you, it's my dog. That has to do with the Rank Math that we were just talking about. So, again, for every heading that I have, it takes that information. Wow, it's slow. Goodness gracious. It takes that information off of every heading that I have and uses that in the table of contents. Something else I can do in the table of contents is I can actually customize it and do certain things, colors and things like that as well. You won't see it on your edit mode, but you will see it when we go to preview here in just a second. So every one of these headings is going to be in my table of contents. If my post is only just a couple of paragraphs, I can go over here and say, look, just skip the table of contents for this one. I don't need it. But normally it's on, as this one is, and it takes care of that. So let's preview this really quick, and let me just show you what it kind of looks like. Okay, see, there's the table of contents.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so they can go down and just pick which one. I have mine set to where it waits for a couple of paragraphs first, and then it shows it. And the reason I do that, because otherwise you see this big title, then all you see is table of contents. And I want them to get the feel of the post a little bit at least, the first paragraph or so.
Right.
And then they can go into the table of contents. So it's kind of like this paragraph is a preview, and go on like that. So and you can change the color of this, you can change the way it looks, but the links are automatic. I did not do a thing. The only thing I did was these. Okay? So that's that, but let me show you what Rank Math does, and this is why I use this plugin. No, I gotta. Sorry, I'm trying to move you guys, and there you go. You guys are in my way up here,
Well, we tried.
Absolutely, man. I'm telling you.
Speaking of in the way.
Yes.
I see. Thank you.
Okay, so quit. Oh my goodness, it's slow. All right, so let me find my Rank Math. Where's my rank? Oh, it's up here. Rank Math. Okay, so I can put all this. I can edit the snippets in Rank Math. Here's my focus keywords, right, that I'm using. I can say whether or not it's pillar post, which I never use that, but you can. And then all of these are questions that it goes out and it checks. And it says, do you have the focus keyword in the title? Do you have one inside your metadata? Do you have it in the URL? And it asks all of these questions. And then from there, it makes a determination what your score is. In this case, it says, no, you really didn't use it too much. Well, I'm not a keyword stuffer. I don't like just keywords being there for the sake of keywords, right? I want the keywords to make sense. So I'm okay with it, the density being low. It says that my title doesn't contain a positive or a negative set. I don't care about that today because I think my title says enough. 6 essential technical website checklists, right? And I've done some research and found that out. And so all of those gives me a score. You want it anywhere in the green. That's usually anywhere from about 85% on, okay? And this is why I use Rank Math, because it shows me, which ones I'm missing. If I had, I wasn't linking to any external resources, it would say something right here, right? You'd say, wait a minute, you're not linking anywhere. You need to do that. You're not, your focus keyword is not used in your title. Make sure you do that.
What's the difference, if you don't mind me interrupting? The difference between this and Yoast, because I do the same thing like this with Yoast.
Yes, this one has a lot more of those.
Okay.
And I don't think it's as bloated as Yoast, but that's just my thought. But I have had a lot of success using this, and several of my clients have as well. And of course, it goes on and on. You can set your indexes, you can tell it the article type, you can put your social media in here, put your images in here, things like that. And then, of course, you always want to put your images down here, or I'm sure it does on Yoast as well, but down at the bottom, there's a place for it to look for images, usually. There it is. And then I usually put my images in here as well. At least my my Pinterest images in here, okay? So that's a little bit about Rank Math, and that's what I prefer that you use. You do not have to, like I said, but that's what I do. And this blog post talks about that, so this is a good one for y'all to see. 6 essential technical website audit checks. This is a good one for y'all to look at. Okay.
So Annie, can I just quickly ask, when you say that you've put your images at the bottom of your blog post in this application, does that then make, for example, Pinterest image pinnable?
Yes.
So instead of the plugin that I might have that allows for that,
No, you
this
still
does it.
you still want that, but it
Okay.
makes it to where your your Pinterest image is not just pinnable, but it has all the information that goes for SEO with it.
Oh, yes. I've been trying to figure out how because I'm just new with Pinterest, how I capture all of that when I make a pin. And it seems to be very manual.
It
doesn't automatically go over.
Unless you use something like Rate Math that pushes it with it. And that's why I use it. So let me see.
And is that available in Yoast or just this particular?
Some of it is and some of it is not. That's why I use Rank Math. Rank Math has a few more things. And I've not done a side-by-side comparison in a year or so. So I don't know what's changed. But I know when I switched over a year ago, that's one of the reasons I switched, is it had those types of things in here. Here's one. Let's see. How do you avoid emails going to spam? I think I did that at the bottom of this. See, I've got links inside here, right? Always want to put in internal links as well as external. Okay, see, I've got it down here at the bottom. I've got my pins.
Right.
Okay. And then on my pins, I should have information that talks about it. It's giving me fits today. I just updated my my stuff, and it's going crazy.
Wait a minute, you're losing me a little bit here.
Sorry?
I got lost a little bit here.
Okay, where are you lost it?
Okay, so you're saying on those images you're putting in links.
There are links on my images, yes. There is a slug for my image.
Where's the link put at? Exactly.
When you click the image, I gotta find it. It used to be right down here. I think we've changed it. Well, I'll be dang. Did they change it? It was right here. When I put my, yeah, it's giving me fits here. Now it's down in here. Let's get preview. Works. Boy, I need to update some blog posts.
Must be pre-Gutenberg.
It looks like it may be. That's probably exactly what it is. I'll have to find one that's not. But when you click on the image, you should have a place down here that says where it goes to. So that when they click that image, it goes back to this website. Okay? And that way, you don't have to be too concerned with it. You know, I always point mine back to the particular website it belongs to. And that way, when it goes into Pinterest, it also carries that with it. Okay? We can look at more detail on that.
The image is coming from somebody else's site.
No, this one's not. This is coming from my site.
Okay, you said you point it back to where it goes to. That's what I'm asking about.
These?
It's coming from someone else's site?
Nope, they're mine.
They're yours?
Yep.
Okay, so you just lost me completely with that statement. It's coming back to where it goes to. Where is that?
Let me say this. These links are to my site. See? They go to my site, to another page on my site.
Oh, okay.
Okay? This I have linked back to my site. So that if someone clicks this, instead of pinning it, it comes back to my site.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right. Anybody else have any questions? Something I haven't covered?
I have one about plugins.
Yes.
When you download a theme and they suggest these plugins, do you suggest using all the plugins with the theme?
That's a really tough question. It depends, and I hate when people tell me that. But it does depend because I use a Restored 316 theme, and they have they always recommend certain plugins. Well, if you use something else instead of that, you don't want to install that one as well. So here's an example. they usually, Restored 316 usually requests that you have this Genesis e-news extended. Well, if you use something else for your plugins, like for, I use Aweber, or if you use MailChimp or MailerLite or something like that, you may or may not need this. If you don't have just a straight plugin, if you don't have just a straight link that goes, name and email, and it goes straight to Genesis, then you don't need that. So just because they recommend it does not necessarily mean, I use iThemes Security, by the way, does not necessarily mean that I use it. I take it and see, do I have something else that I use? They may recommend a different image optimizer. You don't want two, you just want one. So it's going to depend on what your theme is and what they're recommending. Usually, though, what they're doing when they recommend it is they're basing that on the fact that you have certain things that are set up automatically in your application, like widgets. And that, Restored 316 is really famous for widgets. So they will have certain things that go with their particular one, like flexible post widget. Maybe that only goes with this thing, right? And so that's the reason, so that you can move it over here into certain areas or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And then the flip side to that is when you're changing themes. I'm very new at this.
Okay.
Very. When you're changing themes, do you want to go through and remove some of those plugins if you're okay? So you have to remove
I wouldn't
physically yourself.
Yes. I wouldn't necessarily remove it until you get your new theme up, because your new theme may also use those, right?
Okay.
But yes, if it starts looking kind of funky, then chances are there's a plugin that's not playing well. Okay?
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? Gail, you look confused.
No, I'm thinking. That's my thinking look.
Oh, good. I like that. I like that look. I don't like the, what the hell did she just say look?
Hi,
Gail. Can I say hi to Gail?
You can.
Who's this?
Gail and Debbie. Gail and I live in the same city.
Do you
very
really?
Close. It's just that we can't get together right now.
I know.
Oh, I know.
But we're going to set a date, Debbie.
We are.
Absolutely.
Good.
I've already invited myself to Debbie's.
Good. We'll just all go over to Debbie. We'll just all go there.
Prime Minister won't let you cross the border right now.
Well, it's small things.
Little things. Minor things.
Anyway, sorry, I digressed.
Yeah. My quick question is regarding if I do a Google search on my website or anyone's website, let's say Elite Blog Academy.
Sure.
They have you can see a profile of their website and it says, blog, and it has all the different categories when you pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get that sort of
lots of blogging.
Oh, is that right? Okay, so that happens over time.
That happens over time.
Oh, okay.
But the categories comes from your categories. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Do you have categories set up in yours?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Now,
so,
speaking of categories, you can do it one of two ways. I also use my categories as my menu items, but I don't use all my categories as menu items, right? I have my theme set up for my menu items to only choose certain categories, all right? So that when my blog goes to, when you choose that category for my blog, that's what it pulls up, is anything that has that.
mm-hmm.
But as you can see, I have a lot of categories, right? Well, that's okay. That just means I have a lot of categories. It doesn't mean that they all have to be menu items. Okay, let me find menus.
What is that slug?
What slug? That?
Where it has what is that for?
That's so that you can go, like, if you wanted to go straight to Blog Tech Video category, then you put Blog Tech Videos at the end of my URL, and that's where it's going to take you.
Oh, okay. That's how that is done. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So when you add a new category, true crime blog. then I want to give it a slug, something, like that, that it would, okay? And I can make it, part of another one or so forth and so on. Let me see. Menus. Okay. So, with that said, there's my categories, all my different categories. There's my theme. And if you go down to menus, I chose to, come on. All right. So, here's all of the possibilities, right? I can either do it by pages, by posts, by menu item. And so, this is how mine are set up. These are not all of my categories. Not even close to all of my categories, right? I merely chose the ones that I wanted it to be. Okay? And that way, I don't, because I have this philosophy that I don't want more than 5 across the top.
It gets busy when you do
It
that.
does. And I also don't, I'm not a big fan of subcategories because people just don't use them. They really don't. They just go up there and click and, off it goes. But I do use them myself. So, I do like them split out that way. And of course, these do show in my menu. But you don't want many in there. And you don't want subcategories of subcategories of subcategories. People just aren't going to look at them.
So then my subsequent question is this, Annie. So you have all of these categories and subcategories. And if your website was highly trafficked, like Elite Blog Academy, and someone was constantly going into monetizing, would that then appear on that menu in Google?
Yes.
It would?
Yes.
Okay.
Mine does not show up like that, but I know what you're talking about. It's because I don't have the traffic they do,
Right, okay.
And this one has been redone so many times that it's a wonder it even gets any Google traffic. Well, my whole niche is to help people with blog sites. So, I don't expect a lot of traffic on my blog. So,
okay.
Anything else? Let me just show you guys while y'all are thinking.
I do have a subsequent question. What is the relevance of a site map?
Yes. Very important to have a site map, guys. Very important. Site map is what Google looks at to know what pages you have. You create it once, and then Google will keep up with it. Okay? That's done in your Google Search Console in analytics. All right? So you do it once, and then Google regularly goes out there and says, oh, okay, I get it. You want me to look and see if anything's changed here. And that's where it gets all the information to show on a Uber Suggest or even just, searching on Google. Okay?
Okay, so then what do you use to make the site map?
What do I do? How do I make it? You
Yes.
do it in Google Analytics. I think it is under Google Search Console, actually, but I may be able to get to it here. I'll show you when it finally comes up.
Like, is there a plugin for that or something?
Never use a plugin for that. It's all done in Google Analytics. Everything's done in Google Analytics. Anything Analytics or Google related is done directly in the Google site, not anywhere else. Let's see.
I recently saw a blog post about site maps, and that's why I was asking. And it showed me how to check whether I had a site map, and I did, and it did reveal a site map. However, I don't ever remember inputting a site map, so it's kind of created it over time.
Yeah, I think I probably have the same issue. I was sitting there like confused. Do I have one? Do I not have one? At some point, I probably saw one, didn't realize what it was.
Usually, that's something that when you set up your analytics, you're told to do, and because you're so new at it, it's just a button you just keep, you keep following it. You don't really know what you've done. You've just clicked because they said to do that.
Okay.
But
there.
Yeah, it's under Google Search Console is where that's at, and it's a webmaster tool. And basically, when you sign in, I should be signed in. Probably signed in the wrong way. But when you sign in there, it will ask you, one of the places that you look is, of course, that's the wrong Google Search Console. One of the places in there is for sitemaps, and I'll.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. There's a whole
I've
website.
never done a site map.
You've never
Yeah,
done
that's
one?
what I've been wondering about that, because I remember when I was originally drawing out my concept, and I went into like Word docs and I made the little boxes and the lines and stuff and tried to draw it out like that. But I've never actually seen anything on my website or related to my website that showed me that exact same thing.
You probably did and just didn't know it, guys.
I have an older version. Could that be it? Like my blog is over 10 years old. It's an old version.
Well, sure, but I promise you, Google has kept up with it. If it's been submitted to Google, it has been kept up with. I promise you. I think I have I'll post it in the group after a while. I think I have something that talks about that. Yeah, I do. I'll post it after a while because it takes you step by step. Okay.
Okay, great.
One of the things that I'm working on right now, that's going to be free for y'all and for everybody. I'm working on those are all my masterminds. Good Lord. I'm working on a free course called How to Set Up a Blog on WordPress, and it is got all of these kind of things that we have just talked about. It's got your avatar, how you're going to make money, research your niche, how to name it, all those kind of things. It's also got some calculators that'll help you know what kind of costs you should and shouldn't do at the beginning. Yeah, and it really goes into some pretty detailed stuff. And it should be done by the end of the month. So look for that, and I will definitely, let's see. Google Analytics.
Well, I have a question about
Yes.
backup.
Okay.
So, do you like you had mentioned something about backup earlier? What you use, the plugin that you use, but also do you suggest external?
I always suggest both, and I'll tell you why. Because most of the websites I use Big Scoots, and Big Scoots backs up for me every day. You can also use Grayson Bell, who is awesome, and he'll do all your backups and stuff for you. But anything can happen, right? That backup could get destroyed. If you're backing up to your own website, it could get too full. There's 100 things that could happen. There are two types of backups that you need to be concerned with, okay? There's backing up WordPress, and there's backing up your website. If you just back up WordPress, that's excellent. That means that all your blog posts and things like that, and probably your theme, is backed up. So if anything happens, you change web providers, anything happens, you screw it up, right? You install something wrong. You've got a backup to go back to. In the back end of your website, where you log into cPanel, things like that, there's also a backup. That backs up your entire web structure. So like someone was talking earlier about the subdirectories of the subdirectories and what a mess that was. In order to get that cleaned up, you have to restore from those backups, and you restore them just onesie twosies kind of thing. But it created a backup in the back end of that website ensures that your entire blog in a period of time is good. Okay. So if something installed and it messed everything up and it installed in the back end too, you can go, from last night or from this morning or your last available backup to restore the entire blog structure in addition.
But isn't that backup automatically provided by your web host?
Don't trust that.
No?
No.
Oh.
Bluehost is famous for it. They forget sometimes to back up.
Oh, really?
And,
Bluehost tells you to do your own backup. When I was
Mhm.
with Bluehost,
mm-hmm.
not very reassuring.
You don't,
Oh.
yeah, you don't count on them to do your backups. I mean, should they? Absolutely. Do they? Yeah, I
So
never
then-
trust them.
So then, what recommended backup for the website cPanel thing? Because I think for
Updraft.
WordPress- Pardon?
Updraft does both.
Okay, yeah, because I do have Updraft, so maybe I
Yeah.
am backing up both.
It
I
does
realize
both.
it.
You
Okay.
go to the cPanel to back up with Updraft, and then you go to the plugin to back up WordPress.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And is that a paid for service? Or is that
I'm
part
trying to
of
think if
their-
I paid for that. I think I did, but it wasn't much.
Okay.
I try to stay away from paid services if I can.
Yeah.
You know.
And that,
Keep it on a budget.
Well, I don't know what about y'all, but when I first started blogging, I was so confused. There was all the things, right? All the things, and
All the things.
everybody you talk to would say, "Oh no, you need this," or "No, you need that," and it was lions and tigers and bears to me. And so I ended up paying for things that I had no intention of ever using, right? And just, I mean, it's just insane. So one of the things that I did that I'm working on, and I think it's part of my course in here, is how you can, what you need for the first 6 months of blogging. Just the first 6 months of blogging. Don't only worry about these, 12 things. That's it. Don't pay for
Right.
nothing else, because you're going to want to wait. I promise you, within the first 6 months of blogging, you probably have changed your theme at least once. You may haven't changed your entire blog structure. You may have changed your entire blog name, or your niche or whatever, right? There are so many things that can happen in that first 6 months that it just gets crazy. And so to pay for some of the things that it's just
Why don't you look
crazy.
at the camera?
You just wouldn't do it. Hi, puppy. You just,
I know, it's been so delightful.
yes, well, I have one just like it right over here sleeping. Yeah.
sweetie.
This is my grand dog, this big giant dog.
Aw.
She's
He
very
wants someone to-
stressed because mom and dad are camping.
Oh,
Oh dear.
oh, they
Very
should have
stressed.
took
It's the
him.
first time she's been left. Poor little thing.
Yeah, little thing, right? You bet.
Yeah, little thing.
My little thing is 86 pounds.
Well, I don't know what this thing weighs, but it's a lot.
It's big. Yeah,
Yeah,
talking about you.
I definitely appreciate the fact that you're going to do that list. With
Yes.
The,
I'll get that to y'all.
yeah, because that, I'm telling you, that's one of the biggest issues that I was fighting for the last couple of years, because I had been in and out of work. So financially, it was difficult just to get started. And I wrestled, like I was saying before, I wrestled for 3 years with that previous website.
Hmm.
And this was one of the big issues, was there were certain things that I needed that I couldn't get, I couldn't afford.
Other things that you didn't need. Yeah, and and that stuff will add up really quickly, guys, if you're not careful. Before you know it, you're spending $500 a month on a blog that you're not making any money on. And
Exactly.
I don't know about y'all, but most people can't afford to do that for very long, right? So I kind of had to take a quick step back and go, now hang on a minute, what's really important to my life? And it's just like email providers, for example, go with MailerLite until you've got a few hundred, maybe 1,000 people on your list, right? It's going to be a pain in the butt to change, but it's free for that whole time, right?
Agreed.
Now, like I said, I use Aweber and I love it, and it's only quote unquote $19 a month, and that's cheap for an email provider. But it's only $19 a month, and something else is only $19 a month, and before you know it, you've $20 a month yourself, right? And so that's why I created that list, so that you could help to avoid some of that stuff.
Okay, you can nickel and dime yourself, or maybe I should say $10, $20 here and $30 there very fast.
And like I said, before you know it, I was doing my taxes the other day, well, a few months ago, and I was gathering all the information, for last year's business expenses. And I went, oh my God, Of course, the exciting part of that was that I found things I'd forgotten I'd paid for. Little courses, little printables, So it was pretty exciting. It was like Christmas again. But yeah, it's amazing what you pay for. And if I have any objection to the EBA way of thinking, that's probably it. Because guys, you don't need all that stuff. You just don't. Not right up front. Not when you don't even know what you're doing yet. Why have an email provider when you're not even sure what they do yet? Let's get through some of the simpler stuff, and then we'll add that. So that's just Annie's philosophy 101.
All right, Annie, you're my friend for life.
Annie, thank you so much for your help today.
You're welcome, guys. If I can help you in any other way, just let me know. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your time, Annie. Thank you,
No
Carol.
problem.
Hey,
See
it was
ya.
nice to see your lovely faces. We're sorry we didn't see you guys down at the bottom.
I know.
All right.
We'll
thanks
see
so much,
y'all.
guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.